Hello and welcome back to George Reviews. I've missed you. Did you miss me? Alright, so I know I haven't made a video in forever, so what better way to do a little catching up on films I missed this year in rapid fire fashion with a 2022 catch up. Alright, I was super hyped for this film, and I'm super late seeing this film. Everyone everywhere was creaming their pants over this film, but was it going to live up to the hype for myself? Could all this build up lead into a grand disappointment? Could it? Will it? Thankfully, I can say that this film rocked me. It was simply quite amazing, for lack of a better term. It blends all these tones and genres together and succeeds where other films would become overcomplex and convoluted. I can only describe it as a sci-fi, mind-bending, multiverse adventure, experimental action drama, and really there's nothing else like it that I have ever seen. This felt like seeing The Matrix for the first time, where you're witnessing this really special cinematic spectacle and you feel really grateful for experiencing it. Usually this wouldn't be the type of thing I would seek out. And I have to thank and appreciate the overwhelming positive response this film has received for me to finally see it. Really, there isn't that much else to say and don't really have many gripes about it. Some of the multiverse stuff and the dialogue went over my head, but not enough to where I was frustrated or totally confused by it. And overall, loved the film and definitely could see myself experiencing it again and again and buying it on Blu-ray. And for that, I'm going to give Everything Everywhere All at Once 4 out of 5 stars. The next film I finally saw was X, and I was on the fence seeing this one just because it seemed like just another A24 horror film with porn stars, and definitely heard mixed reactions to it. So it took me a long time to finally see it, and I still feel somewhat on the fence about it. On one hand, the atmosphere and cinematography are nothing short of captivating, as well as an amazing dual performance from Mia Goth. On the other hand, it falls to the endless same boring tropes that are tirelessly used in the most generic of horror and slasher films. Still, there's something about it that I found substantive and worth experiencing. Can really feel the film growing on me more and more as I think about it. It's held up by the amazing performance by Mia Goth, as I said, and the rest of the cast works well with what they're given. I don't think this is a spoiler to say this, but I found the deaths or kills in the film to be quite underwhelming and downright comical. It's not reinventing the horror reel, but it was highly entertaining at most points and had fun with it, and would definitely like to re-examine it at some point because there are a lot of different ideas about morality going around, but it just didn't really deliver fully on those ideas. So for that, I'm going to give X 3.5 out of 5 stars. So now with seeing X, you know I had to see the prequel that came out just a few months back, and I absolutely loved Pearl. I had a lot more fun with it and got out a lot more what I was wanting out of X. It felt like an interesting mashup between the Wizard of Oz and the Hitchcock film. It's colorful and sadistic and has a whimsical tone throughout. There's also great sadness to the film with the character of Pearl, with Mia Goth once again just fucking nailing this character and even going further and more insane than she was in X. Her whole arc is that she wants to be a star, and all her hopes and dreams are riding on this dance audition and the heartbreak and wonder that goes along with failing to reach that status and goal. The film really gets going in the second half. Not that I dislike the first half, it just takes a lot for the story and character to get going. But what really steals the film is once again Mia Goth, with one of the most fascinating and heart-wrenching monologues I've seen in a very long time, that draws an emotional intensity and chills you to the bone till the last frame as it fades out on her sadistic smile. Pearl is a fascinating character study with a charming and whimsical tone that I just couldn't get enough of. It'll probably end up being one of my favorite films of the year and couldn't highly recommend it more. So for that, I'm going to rate Pearl 4 out of 5 stars. Now, what to say about Blonde? So I was a big fan of Andrew Dominik's, the director of Blonde's film The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward of Robert Ford back in 2007. And I can confidently say it's one of my favorite films of all time, and to me, Blonde was just slightly a step down from that. There's a lot to appreciate about this film stylistically, but there's a lot about it that is just plain ridiculous. It's a mismatch of a lot of lost opportunity and some of the most dazzling cinematic sequences I've ever witnessed in film. I also enjoyed the change of color contrasting between the full color of Marilyn's real life and the black and white of her Hollywood bubble. Though with that, there's a constant change in the aspect ratio, which I found a little distracting. Dominik claims he was using the same cameras and lenses used to photograph Marilyn, therefore the constant change in aspect ratios was done within the same scene. But whatever the real reason, if that is the real reason, I found it just distracting and felt like it should have been more subtle. But the film and the material was held up by the style, and without the gorgeous cinematography, the over-dramatized scenes of the film just don't hold up as well. And I wish the film was more substantive imaginative than what it was presenting in the script and performances. And don't get me wrong, Ana de Armas is fucking spectacular in her role as Marilyn Monroe, and the rest of the cast does well with what they're given. What I do like about this film is that it isn't afraid to get rough around the edges. It tortures Marilyn, and we endured that torture with her all throughout the film until she simply can't take it anymore. A lot of critics and audiences have called us exploitive, and I'm not sure I completely agree with that or any of the backlash. I think it shows her struggle and pain in a very honest and genuine way. At least maybe that is how I am perceiving it, and don't feel the film or the filmmakers are taking any kind of stance or commentary. And yes, this is based off a novel of the same name and should be looked at as a work of fiction and not as a biopic, which seems to be setting a lot of people off. In the end, Blonde is a beautiful mess, and I'm glad I got to experience the film, but not one I really feel excited to go back to anytime soon. So for that, I'm going to rate Blonde 3 out of 5 stars. So those are some films I caught myself up on 2022, and I'm glad I did. What did you think about these films? Did you get anything out of them? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Please let me know down there in the comments. Please like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. My name is George Ray. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please remember to keep calm, keep cool, keep chill, embrace great cinema. I'll see you on the next video. Until then, peace out.